Hey guys, hope you're having a great morning already. I know that you miss me. I know. I'm sorry. I had to leave. Anyway, I'm in the building. I just had a meeting during your class, so make sure that you watch this video all the way through, that you're filling in the notes as you go. And then once your notes are complete, you will show them to the sub, and the sub will give you your homework. Once she sees, or he sees, whoever it is, once they see that it is complete, then they will give you your homework to start on. Now, that is work that you should be able to get done in class. This video should not take very long. You should be able to get through these notes fairly quickly, and you have the rest of the class to get your homework done. That needs to be turned in before you leave. Check your answers with the sub and make sure that you're working on that assignment. Okay, everything must be completely done when you come to class on Friday. So if it's not, it'll be a 0 in the grade book. I'm also going to give you a mini quiz on Friday over the material from yesterday and today. So if you didn't complete yesterday's homework, which I have quite a few students who did not get that done in class yesterday, you need to also take the time in class to complete that so that you don't have to take it home. All right, but it is homework whatever you don't get done in class. That doesn't mean waste class time to do your homework or to not do your homework. That doesn't mean just waste it and not do what you're supposed to be doing. I'm expecting you guys to do your homework, and the sub should not have any problems with any of you. I won't mention any names, but there shouldn't be any problems or issues, and I will see you guys back on Friday. So on your papers, you should see the notes that are on my screen. Today we're going to be looking at graphing linear equations in standard form. Yesterday you saw all the different forms. We talked about each one and we learned how to convert them. Today we're going to be learning how to graph the standard form. So the linear equation, if you remember, for standard form is ax plus by equals c. So in that form, you're going to see the horizontal and vertical lines that are up here. These are the special cases that we have not really talked about yet. But you did review these a little bit last year if you paid attention or if you remember anything from last year. Horizontal and vertical lines are those special cases that don't have the normal slopes and the y-intercepts like we see with regular equations. So the horizontal line, this one goes through the y-intercept. Okay, so this is where it crosses the y-intercept. So this is the graph of y equals b, and that is a horizontal line through the point 0 and whatever that y value is. So whatever b is. And sometimes we write it as 0 comma y because you're talking about the y value. But we're naming it b for the y-intercept because that's the y value of the y-intercept. All right. The next line. Okay, so over here, notice the equation started with y equals b. So if we have y equals some number, like y equals 2, we're just going to have a horizontal line. In this case over here, notice this equation starts with x equals. So it's only going to cross through the x-axis at a point. So this is the graph of x equals a. That is a vertical line, straight up and down, that passes through the point a0. And sometimes we also write it as x0. So this, remember, vertical lines, what kind of slopes do they have? They have undefined slopes. So the slope is undefined here. Okay. and it will always be an equation that starts with x equals, so like x equals 2. It will cross through that line at 2. Okay, so that's the basics. Now we're going to practice graphing those special cases, the horizontal and vertical lines, and what it is we need to know about each. So if we look at this, we want to graph y equals 4. Well, y equals 4 is a horizontal line. So this is going to be a horizontal line on the y-axis at 4. So we're going to plot that point at 4. Does it ever cross the x-axis? And then we're going to draw the line through there. It never crosses the x-axis, so the x-intercept is going to be none. When it's y equals 4 or y equals anything, the x-intercept is always going to be none because it's never going to cross. The y-intercept is going to be at the point 0, 4. Okay, so number 2, now we're looking at x equals. Remember, x equals -2. When it starts with x equals, it's going to be a vertical line, straight up and down. It's going to have an x-intercept of -2, 0, because when we have the x-intercept, the y is 0, and it's never going to cross the y-axis, so this is going to be none. So if we graph that, we're going to go to -2, 0. We're going to plot our point, and we're going to make a straight up and down vertical line through -2. All right, now that we did a couple of those, I want you guys to try 3, 4, 5, and 6. So take a minute to try those. I'm going to pause here for a second, so pause the video and try those out. Okay, hopefully you were able to try some of those out. And if you check your answers with mine, you can look at my screen. I'm going to scroll through so you can see the answers to these. Number 3, x-intercept is none. The y-intercept is 0, -2.5. The graph is a horizontal line. Number 4, the x-intercept is 5, 0. The y-intercept is none. It's going to be a vertical line through 5 on the x-axis. Number 5, the x-intercept is none. The y-intercept is 0, -6, and it's going to cross through -6 on the y-axis. And number 6 is 0 or -4, 0 for the x-intercept. The y-intercept is none. It's going to be a vertical line through -4. So those are pretty easy to graph as long as you remember that the y-intercept or the x-intercept, there's none. for those and writing what the y-intercept is or the x-intercept, writing it as an ordered pair. Okay, the next part, using intercepts to graph. So we were able to use the intercepts yesterday, and we were able to find the x and y intercepts by using the cover-up method. We're going to do the same thing here, except now we're going to graph them. So x-intercept is where the graph crosses. We just learned it up here. The x-intercept, it crosses the x-axis. It occurs when y equals 0, and it's written as x comma 0. Or a comma 0, whichever works for you. The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. It occurs when x equals 0, and it's written as 0 comma y. So to graph, we have to find the x and y intercepts. So we need to find both x and y intercepts and draw the line that passes through those 2 points. So to find the x-intercept, we're going to use the cover-up method. We're going to cover up y and solve for x. And to find the y-intercept, we're going to cover up x and solve for y. Then we're going to write our answers as ordered pairs, x comma 0 and 0 comma y. Now you can use this formula right here to check your work. Once you plot the points, and I'll show you how that works so you can check to see if your points are in the right spot. So for this one, remember we're going to have the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So the x-intercept, if we cover up the y value, so if we cover up that y value, we have 3x equals 12. So we're going to write that 3x equals 12. We're solving for x, so we're doing the x-intercept. Divide by 3, x equals 4. So the x-intercept is going to be 4 comma 0. And we can plot that on the graph. So we're going to go over to 4, 0. And we're going to plot that point. The y-intercept is when we cover up x. So if we cover up the x value, we're left with 4y equals 12. Solve for y, we get y equals 3. So this, the y-intercept, is going to be 0, 3. We're going to plot that on the y-axis, so we're going to go over to 0 up to 3. We're going to plot that point. Now I can draw the line through these 2 points. There's my graph. If I want to check to see if my graph is correct, I could use this formula right here. Negative a over b. Well, 3 is a. So if I want to use this, I'm going to have m equals negative 3 over 4. That would be my slope if I use this formula. So I have negative 3 over the y value, which is 4. Now let's see if it works. If I count my slope of this, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know my line is correct because it matches what my slope should be for that equation. Do I have to use m equals negative 3/4? Do I have to find that every time? No, but if you want to get it right and you want to make sure that your answer is correct and that you graphed it the right way, it's best to use it. It takes a couple seconds to write out what the slope is, and then you could count your slope to find out if it's correct. So that is a good line because the slope matches. Okay, number 2, try that one. It won't let me zoom in. All right. So number 2, we have to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept again. So for this x-intercept, remember we cover up y, so we're going to get 2x equals 4. Divide both sides by 2, so then x equals 2. x equals 2. We're going to put the x first and then 0 for y. Now the y-intercept, this is one of the most common mistakes. This right here, I need to take all of that. The negative y equals 4 because the negative is attached to the y. Now I have to divide both sides by negative 1 to get rid of the negative. So we get y equals negative 4. So now we can write our y-intercept, which x is 0 and y is negative 4. Plot our points. So at 2, 0 and at 0, negative 4, we can draw our line. And now we can check to see if it's correct by doing the slope. M equals negative a over b. Negative a is negative 2 and b is negative 1. So what is my slope? M equals positive 2 or 2 over 1. So if I would count that, I would go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. It hits both points and it matches. So therefore I know my line is good. Okay? All right. I want you to pause here. I want you to try the next couple. So try 3, 4, 5, and 6 and see what you can do with those. If you need help, go back and listen to the video again in the certain parts that you need and see if that will help. Okay, so take a couple minutes to work through 3, 4, 5, and 6. I will give you the answers to those in just a moment. Okay, hopefully you are finished with most of those by now. If not, you can keep working, just pause it a little bit longer. So the answer for number 3, you should have gotten for the x-intercept, negative 10, 0, and the y-intercept. Notice on this one we had, when we put 4y equals negative 10, we had to simplify negative 10 over 4. Remember, always to simplify those fractions. So you would have gotten y equals negative 5 over 2. Now when we're graphing, we need to know what point is negative 5 over 2. So we need to convert it to a mixed number. This is where your conversions come into play. A lot of you like to make those conversions whenever we're just simplifying fractions, but we don't have to. This is one of the reasons why we have to do it and have to know how to do it, is because we need to know where it is on the graph. So negative 5 halves is negative 2 and a half, so I know where I can graph that now. So it's down here at negative 2 and a half. Number 4, you should have got x-intercept is 9 over 2 and 0, and the y-intercept is 0, negative 3. We had to change 9 halves to 4 and a half in order to graph it. So we did that, and our graph looks like that. Number 5, the x-intercept is 5, 0. The y-intercept is 0, negative 2. And your graph looks like that. And number 6, x-intercept is negative 6, 0. The y-intercept is 0, negative 3. And your graph looks like that. All right, that is it for the notes for today. You should have all of your work shown for 3, 4, 5, and 6. So make sure that you go back, and if you didn't show your work, make sure you show that work before the sub will give you your homework assignment. Okay? All right, that is all I have for today. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget about that mini quiz.